Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. It is a new week, which means new theme. This week we're going to be looking at the vulnerable side of musicians. These are songs that are pensive, thoughtful, emotive, kind of digging into that more personal area of songwriting. We're going to start off the week with BARONESS. If I have to wake up, would you stop the rain? Let's dive in and see what's going on. Beautiful.
Kill the lights.
Ooh,
Something
a
wrong
little funky there.
with today. This isn't me, this is on you. All I can say, all I can do is wait.
Love those vocal harmonies too.
Hold on. The hours in your head. Brace yourself. Heavy the heart, in the sand. Lift my wings and let me fall to you. If I have to wake up, would you stop the rain? If I got fly away,
Yeah, that little triplet thrown into that drum fill though.
open your arms and wake up. Take a dive, fill your lungs with summer rain. Pace yourself, heavy the heart, steady the hand. One last taste of milk and gasoline.
Dude, I'm loving this groove though.
In a lunatic parade, aces high, one of a kind, ten of a pair, lifted up and crashing down on you. If I had to wake up,
music's almost moving in slow motion compared to what the drums are doing. There's just a lot of really long held out notes in the guitar. A lot of pain in here. Quite a few instances of dissonance in this harmony. I just realized, is the drummer left-handed? The whole kit seems backwards. Yeah, everybody else has their guitars the right way, so it's not mirrored. Yeah, that's cool. It is very rare that I see a hi-hat on the right side of somebody. Massive vibe shift here too. Open it up a bit, going from cross stick to snare. Yeah. Once again though, just drum fills that are at a different intensity than the rest of the group. All right. So I think this might be a running theme this week of songs that are musically a little bit more simplistic, maybe, than other music that we've checked out, but probably has more of an emphasis on atmosphere or lyrical content. And I think this definitely falls into that concept. We have a verse chorus idea. We do one repetition of each, and then we have our outro secondary track called Fugue, which is that massive tonal shift. And once again, oh wait, there was a guitar solo section in the previous, wasn't there? Yeah, so there was one alteration. There are two verses, two choruses, and then the guitar solo duet section, and then our outro song Fugue, which does that huge shift into the more lighter, somber stuff. and that comprises of a pretty standard keyboard part, which honestly is a bit lower in range, so it mimics a lot of what the bassist is doing, anyways, both in tone and timbre. Range and timbre. It kind of mirrors a lot of what the bassist was doing on the bass in the previous section, which I thought was interesting. And then the drummer pretty much picks up a single idea for that entire outro as well. And then the guitars kind of play over that with a small moving idea, but mostly static. So a lot of this song, despite it being 8 minutes, can really be summed up in just a few ideas. But again, the heart of the song, the core of the song, is not the music. It's the atmosphere, it's the emotions, it's where it takes the listener, and of course, the lyrics and what they mean. As I mentioned last week, I've begun looking into lyrics and a little bit of background information into songs in order to make these analyses better, to make them a little bit more comprehensive. So I did find out that this song was a thank you letter to those who support the band, friends and family of the bandmates, and it was written as part of the first album that the band created after being in a tragic bus accident. And things were looking grim for the band. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that this song is, one, very personal, lyrically and emotionally, but also somber and sort of memento mori kind of thing going on. A bit of that remembrance of our mortality and kind of the down to earth elements that brings. So let's dive into some of this stuff and see how it all connects. First of all, I think, oh man, so I kind of picture the first half being sort of in relation to, or I guess not the first half. It would be the if I have to wake up part of the song, not the fugue part. It a lot of the lyrics kind of remind me of possibly thoughts that happened immediately after the crash. Uh, it was mentioned that the bus accident happened during a storm, and so uh, some of the lyrics talk about, feeling the rain fall on your face, and something about the last taste of milk and gasoline, which makes absolutely no sense outside of this context. I'm really glad that I read a little bit into this because I would have been like, what in the world? But yeah, apparently one of the bandmates was had gasoline all over him during the accident. So yeah, it's these moments right after possibly lying on the road and having these thoughts go through them, and I think it. I mentioned something about the music being in slow motion, and I have no idea if this is intentional. As usual, I could be heavily reading into this, but I do think this is a pretty cool connection here. The music in the first part, If I Have to Wake Up, is a lot of long held out notes, heavy vibrato put on them, especially in the two guitars. The bass kind of dances between both, sometimes laying down quarter notes and sometimes holding out some longer notes. But then the drums are just going at it the whole time. They're keeping a nice steady rhythm. It's swingy. It's kind of got that upbeat kind of dancey funkiness to it. And the drum fills are just these full powered, faster. We're talking like eighth notes, which is not extremely fast to begin with, but in context to these long held out whole notes, it is just quite a bit faster. There's a lot more energy and upbeat aspects to the drumming. And at first, I felt that it was in drastic opposition to what the guitars were doing, but about halfway through this opening section, it really came to my mind that it's almost like the music is acting in slow motion. Time is still obviously moving at the normal speed, but the mind is processing it a lot slower than how it's going. It feels like they're moving in slow motion. And I imagine, I mean, I've been in a couple of car accidents, nothing as bad as what I perceived they went through, but um, yeah, when you get into tense situations like that, things do kind of like slow down. It feels like you're moving in slow motion, and I think that's a really interesting aspect there because it really doesn't show up in Fugue. The drummer does keep those really fast fills, but they also kind of bring down the energy in the rest of the music. Or sorry, in the rest of the percussive section. We move to a closed hi-hat. We move to cross sticking. We don't have anything really going on in the bass kick. It's just a simple hi-hat and cross sticks section. And eventually it does open up a little bit, but the rhythm pretty much stays the same. It stays on that nice, chill kind of quarter notes, keeping the beat idea. We lose the swing aspect of it. So it is something, it is an aspect of the music that is relegated to If I Have to Wake Up. The section that, at least to me, seems to be immediately after the wreck as far as the narrative of the lyrics go. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I have much to say about the melodic elements themselves and the guitars. I do love how much harmony work there is in this one though. Um, I don't know if they always do harmony work. I don't know anything about Baroness. I don't think. Let me check real quick. No, I've never listened to a Baroness song, so I am curious how much of this is typical for them, and also sort of what their typical sound is. How contrasting is this to their larger works? Because this opening 4 or 5 minutes, the If I Have to Wake Up section, is filled with weight, but there's a lot of levity to it. And I'm curious if that is just their style and it just happens to play into these themes, or if they crafted this song unique. It sits outside of their standard style. Because the harmonies are everywhere, and I'm curious, again, if that means anything, if there's any sort of thematic relationship for that, or if it's just what they do. Because we have the vocal harmonies throughout every line. I think every line has it. And then, of course, the two guitar solos are both harmonized. So there's a lot of duality in this song of, not duality, more of a synergy, things coming together and supporting each other, making them stronger, which I actually, you know what, that comes together in the idea of being supported by your friends and family and sort of giving a thank you, which is what I read the song was. It was the best way that they could thank the people who supported them. So yeah, again, I don't know if I'm reading into that or if that's just what they do, if that's just how they write music. They always double things up and provide harmony. But I do think that is a really awesome aspect, and it is not what I expected coming into this. We came in with that heaviness, that weight, and the first time the dude opened his mouth, he's got this big booming lower voice. I was not expecting a harmony with that. So yeah, that was cool. The guitar work was cool, and I do like the outro Fugue. It blends really nicely into it. There's a nice transition going into it, and I think it's a fantastic way to end this. It's a bit more somber, like I said, it has a bit of that memento mori aspect to it. Uh, it's grounded, right? The previous song, If I Have to Wake Up, is very, it's got a bit of a larger than life aspect to it, right? You got this big booming voice. We got these huge, drawn out, almost dramatic uh, notes underpinning these lyrics. It is just this large song, and then we come down to this very personal, very vulnerable fugue section, and yeah, to me, it's that somber reminder. There's a lot of brightness in it still, and I could see this as possibly being the thankful aspect. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for helping us. All that stuff. But there's this somber reminder of mortality, I think, is what I'm getting out of it. And I think it's a fantastic way to wrap that up, to kind of close that concept up that they had walked through in If I Have to Wake Up. Now, how this ties into the week's theme, I'm a bit torn on, because coming into Vulnerable Side week, I was kind of expecting more stuff in the vein of Fugue. But if Fugue had lyrics, possibly, or even not necessarily, I suppose it doesn't have to, but I was not expecting something heavy. The dude's voice is very booming and powerful. It's not very vulnerable to me. The vulnerability, I think, comes from the lyrics and a little bit of how he physically looks as he performs this. You can tell that it is both a sort of a painful song for that lead vocalist, but also a cathartic song. And I think you can see a lot of that in the physical aspect of the performance. Some of his not even just some of the stress you can see in the body, but also with the way that he plays the guitar. Some of the strums are very sharp, and it's a very performative aspect. But if I hadn't have seen a live version, if this had been a studio and it just had a cover album on the screen, I don't know if I would have thought this fit the week, or at least it's not the stereotypical vulnerable sound I was expecting. And I'm trying to figure out if, obviously, I think the song fits. I think it definitely has a vulnerable side to Baroness. I'm assuming that they are possibly a heavier band usually. But my goal with this week was to kind of get away from these heavier songs and really dig in to some more vulnerable sounding tracks, not just a vulnerable sound from a band who is not typically playing vulnerable music, playing personal music. So, yeah, I mean, I already did it. It's not like I can go back and say this doesn't fit. We're scrapping it. But I am hoping that the rest of the week we do get to check out some stuff that I think fits more of what I was expecting and not just softer songs from heavy bands. But those are just my thoughts on Baroness. If I Have to Wake Up, Would You Stop the Rain? This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this one, if you enjoyed it or not, if you think it fits the theme, if you have any insight into this. I know my context is quite small, quite rushed. I basically just did a crash course on what this song was about globally instead of digging into the lyrics themselves. There might be some extra context that helps me put this into a better perspective. I don't know. Hit me up with some comments. Let me know some stuff. Above the comment section is a description box, and there is a link for Linktree. It'll take you to this menu right here. All sorts of stuff in here. Special selection submission, Patreon, Discord, email, Bandcamp, whatever. You want to check out anything related to me or the channel, this is the place to do it. Above the description box, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back in about 6 minutes. We'll be doing our special selection for the day. Otherwise, you can come back, check me out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC. We'll be looking at another vulnerable track and another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.